Hello, I'm Richard Murphy, and I want to talk about why the Conservative Party in the UK is so frightened at present. And this might seem like a surprising theme to those who would say, hang on a minute, the Conservative Party is the government. It's doing very well in opinion polls. It's leading, for example, in the Hartlepool by-election polls at the time that this recording is being made. It's got a majority of 80 in the House of Commons. What do you mean it's frightened? Well, I think it is. And the reason why is the evidence of its behaviour. Because although the Conservatives appear to be doing well in opinion polls, that is because they have been quite successfully manipulating a number of situations to their advantage. And of course, that's what they're really good at. Their aim in life is to make people believe in them. And that's why they have, and I'll be honest about this, been the most successful democratic political party in the world ever. But I think their luck is running out. And let me explain why. So many of the things that the current Conservative Party, which isn't really Conservative at all, but is genuinely a Tory party, a band of outlaws is literally what that name means. It comes from an Irish term meaning outlaws, brigands or bandits. The current Tory party has been pursuing a range of policies which are going really very badly indeed. The first and most obvious perhaps of these is Brexit. Brexit is failing. The fishing industry, which was supposed to be at the heart of their concerns, basically has ceased to function. British business is seeing its costs increase. Many export markets, for example, with regard to the food industry, have simply disappeared. There is no prospect of them being recovered either. For many small businesses, frankly, selling abroad has ceased to be a viable option. When once exports were easy, now they're nigh on impossible, but there are no obstacles to imports. Our balance of trade is going wrong, and it inevitably follows that our employment will go wrong as well, and British business will suffer. This is going to rebound on the Conservative Party, whether they like it or not, because they were the party of Brexit, the party who were going to get it done and who promised things would go well. The second thing that's clearly going wrong, well, that's COVID, isn't it? Now, again, people would say at the time of recording, but it isn't. We've just finished a third lockdown, near enough. We're heading towards low death rates again, thankfully. Low by the standard of, well, it's less than a jumbo jet a week. Low by the standards of only a few months ago. And people are delighted with their vaccines. Well, so you would think that things are going well. But are they? Are they really? There are, of course, very strong and clear warnings coming from SAGE, the independent advisors to the government, that there could well be another wave of coronavirus by July, just as the peak of summer arrives, the point when everybody thought, thank God we can go on holiday again, and we may be in lockdown 4. Is that a sign of success? No. Is the vaccine policy going to be a sign of success if and when it fails to protect people from getting COVID again? No, it isn't. So there's a very real chance of that going wrong. What else is going wrong? Well, let's be blunt, corruption is going wrong for the party. For some reason, the Labour Party has chosen not to highlight this and not made a big deal of it, but corruption is the thing that has always brought the Conservatives down. The words almost go together, I hate to say it. Just remember the end of the John Major government and the brown envelopes, which brought his government down at the end of the day. The stench of corruption was too strong, and Tony Blair swept in. He exploited it to his and Labour's advantage at that time. Keir Starmer isn't, but the stench of corruption is just as strong now. In fact, it's almost endemic to what the Conservatives are doing. It appears that if you want a contract with the government, be a mate of a cabinet minister and you'll get what you want. Is this sustainable in the UK? Are people going to put up with it forever? I doubt it. At some point, that is going to explode. And let's look at another policy, a fourth policy that could fail for this government. And that, of course, is about devolution, or rather, the prospects of Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland all becoming independent. As I record, the situation in Northern Ireland is very tense. Nobody quite knows what will happen, but unionists are very clearly angry about the way they have been sold out by Brexit. And they have been sold out by Brexit, and let's also be clear, by their own politicians who for too long supported Brexit. People in Wales are becoming much more aware of the possibility of becoming independent. More than 30% of people in Wales now support this idea, an unprecedented number. But Scotland is, of course, the focus of attention. There, the numbers supporting independence run at around 50-50, slightly more for independence usually now than against independence, but a little bit around 50-50, with the SNP expected to win a significant number of seats in the new Holyrood Assembly when it sits in May, and with a significant majority for pro-independence parties in that new parliament as a whole. Does that mean that Scotland is going to become independent? I believe the answer is yes. Of course, I don't know when, and I'm not pretending I know when, but I do believe the answer is still yes, and that the momentum for independence will grow. No Prime Minister and no party has survived the breakup of their country and been re-elected to office as if they are a success. Boris Johnson faces the very real chance that before he leaves office in 2024, Scotland may have begun to force the issue of independence by calling a referendum whether he wishes or not. And I would strongly support their right to do so. So would international law, by the way. And in that case, Johnson is failing miserably on at least 4 counts. Brexit, coronavirus, corruption, the very nature of the United Kingdom. And then we can see his behaviour in response to that. He's provoking people. He's trying to blame those who oppose as if they are the provocateurs, when actually those policies are literally what is provoking reaction. It's his failure to do coronavirus properly that is provoking a reaction amongst some. Brexit has not healed any wounds. Corruption is creating anger. And he, through his identity politics process of calling out those he describes as woke, who he is therefore chastising for their commitment to equality on a range of grounds, are those that he is trying to provoke to attack him. That is standard right-wing policy. It is standard, I'm afraid to call it this, but I think I have to call it fascist policy, and it's deliberate. It's the sign of a deeply frightened government. And they're frightened because they know that the model of economics that they have supported for the last 40 or more years, neoliberalism, is at the end of its own road. The extraction of profit from society and from government for private benefit, which this government is doing par excellence, literally benefiting a few at the cost of the many via control of government, is a mechanism that is coming to an end because people literally can see through it now. And it is incompatibility with the demand for sustainability, where Johnson is also failing. I could add that as a 5th to the list if we wished. So the point is, they know that their ideas are now bankrupt. They know that their opportunity for profit is coming to an end. They know that their policies are failing. So all they can do is now try to use blunt force to maintain their position in office. So they are provoking crowds. They are seeking riots. They are trying to pass legislation which will anger and reinforce that desire to literally get people to oppose them. Will it work? Well, in the short term, yes, it will provoke people. In the long term, I think this is the sign of a government that knows its time is up. We have a Conservative Party that is morally, ethically and politically bankrupt. They're frightened and they know they have to go. The only difficulty is they're not sure they want to go without a fight, and we don't know how tough that fight will be. But we are living in interesting political times because these people know it's all over. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in what I've been saying in this video, please subscribe. There is a button below the viewing screen. If you're interested in what I have to say on Twitter, I'm at Richard J. Murphy on that medium. If you want to look at my blog, that's taxresearch.org.uk. And we have a Facebook page as well, Richard J. Murphy. So one of those things will get you more information on what this video series is about, and I hope I'll see you again soon.